Welcome to Pinterest Photos Choose My June TBR. That's crazy, we're in June. It is officially summer, I think. Hey Google, what is the first day of summer?
Summer will start on Thursday, June 20th.
Apparently it doesn't even start until June 20th, but it is like 100 degrees here in Texas, so it is summer in my brain. Anyway, you guys may or may not have seen Sarah Caroli do a very similar video to this one. She had Pinterest photos, choose the books that she read for a week, and I have had this video idea on my calendar to film for so long. So when I saw she posted that video, I was like, oh my gosh, great minds think alike, and she beat me to the idea. So shout out to Sarah, she always has the best video ideas. And my video is similar to Sarah's, but I'm doing it a little bit different. And I will tell you how this video is gonna work in just a minute. But first, I wanted to go ahead and add one book to my TBR that I know I'm gonna read this month no matter what. And that is Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. I got this book in my this month's Book of the Month box, and Book of the Month has kindly sponsored today's video. This is the sequel to Butcher and Blackbird, which I would say is in my top 3 romances that I've read so far this year, so I have been not so patiently waiting for the sequel to come out. The first one was a serial killer romance, and this one follows Lachlan, who is a contract killer. Murder meets romance has my heart, which is not a sentence, you know, I ever thought I would say. But this one is gonna be our first book going on the June TBR. And then the second book that I got in my this month's Book of the Month box is One Star Romance, which is such a cute name for a romance book. And the premise is so fun. It says a struggling writer is forced to walk down the aisle at her best friend's wedding with the man who gave her book a very public 1-star rating. And if you're not familiar with Book of the Month is an online book subscription box whose goal is to help readers discover new books. They offer a curated selection of books for you to choose from each month, which I love because number 1, it cuts out all the research time, and number 2, I discover books that I may never have found on my own. I also really love their app. You can rate and review books, you can participate in reading challenges on their app. You can also add backlist books to your box at a discount. And they also have audiobooks, so every single month members can choose a hardcover book or an audiobook. For a limited time, you can sign up and use my code BREEZE to get your first book for just $9.99. That is such a good price for literally any book ever, but especially for a new release hardcover. So thank you to Book of the Month for always having good deals and giving me a discount code to share with you guys. Now let's get into picking my June TBR. Okay, here's the plan for how this is gonna work. I pretty much only use my Pinterest to make book boards every single time I finish reading a book. I love making a Pinterest board. My entire feed on Pinterest, for the most part, fits like the aesthetics of the books I like to read. So for this first one, I'm gonna give a random scroll, and whichever photo I land on, I'll have to pick a book that fits that photo's aesthetic. Random scroll starting. Okay, I feel like this could be perfect. I don't have a book in mind yet, but we have an image of a girl in a bakery. I feel like there have got to be tons of romance books where the main character is a baker. The problem is I have to read so many summaries because I don't think I immediately am thinking of a book or the main character is a baker, so I just need to find if that's their occupation in the synopsis. But that's okay, I'm up for the task. This book, Mixed Signals, would have been so perfect because the main character is a small town baker, but it's the 3rd book in the series and I haven't read the 2nd book yet. So close, this is so perfect. All right, I've got 2. So the first one I found that is semi-fitting, semi-not is Juniper Hill. The male love interest is a chef, which is not quite a baker, but close. But I think I have to go with When in Rome because she is literally a small town baker. I've also never read a Sarah Adams book before and I have been really wanting to. And okay, this is so fun. The male love interest is a pop star who is stranded in the small town that our baker works in. Going on the TBR. And then the last step, I want to make a Pinterest board for each book. When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I'm obviously not going to add photos to yet because I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to add the cover image. And then I'm also going to add the Pinterest photo that made me choose this book. And I think it would be fun to see at the end of the month, maybe if I do a reading wrap up, if the photo ended up fitting the aesthetic of the book. So just a little challenge for the end of the month. All right, time to pick the next book. For this one, I think I'm going to refresh the page. Whatever the first image that comes up is, will be the photo we go with. Ooh, okay, a classroom. This is perfect for a young adult book. This is actually really tough because there's so many young adult books that I want to read. All right, I pulled 3 young adult books. The first one is Dungeons and Drama. This book sounds so adorable. It's a romance between a girl who loves theater. She wants to be a Broadway director. And then the male love interest is Nathan, and he's in this like D&D group. And I just think a young adult romance where the male love interest is kind of nerdy is just so cute. The Cheerleaders, which is a young adult mystery, and there are no more cheerleaders at Sunnybrook High. They have all like disappeared or died or something mysterious. And lastly, we have Betting on You, which sounds like a very cute fake dating romance. I think I'm gonna go with The Cheerleaders. I read 5 Survive last month, which is young adult mystery, and I just ate it up. So I feel like I'm really in the mood for more young adult mysteries this month. All right, 3rd book on the TBR. Make my Pinterest board. Okay, I'm gonna do another random scroll again. That one is fun. So we're not refreshing the page, doing another scroll. Oh, interesting. We could go about this one in a few ways. It is a graduation cap that is decorated to look like a clapper from like a film set. So we could go graduation route with like another young adult romance where maybe they're seniors, or we could go film route with something that takes place with like a movie or one of them is famous. I kind of want to go the film route just because I feel like that's a little more fun and unique. Okay, I looked through my books, really struggling to find one for some reason. I thought I would have owned lots of like one of them is famous, one's like an actor or something like that. The closest one I found is Weather Girl, which like kind of fits, kind of doesn't. But our 2 main characters, one of them is a TV meteorologist and one of them is a sports reporter. I don't know if they use the clappers on those sets or not, but I feel like it kind of fits because both characters, their jobs are to be on TV. I bought this book because the cover is so freaking cute and they are such unique jobs. Like I'm also really intrigued to hopefully not just get romance, but really get into like the behind the scenes of their jobs. I think that would be really cool. All right, 4th book on the TBR. This is fun. I feel like it's making me pick books that I probably wouldn't have immediately picked because a lot of these I have owned for quite a while and haven't gone to for whatever reason. Okay, we have 3 romances, 1 mystery. I think we should mix it up a little bit and do a fantasy book. I didn't really read much fantasy at all in June, so I think my feed on Pinterest is not really gonna give me any fantasy images. So this time I'm gonna search fantasy book aesthetic. I love how my recent searches on Pinterest are so random because they're images I needed to fit my book Pinterest boards. Anyway, fantasy book aesthetic. Scroll. Okay, definitely giving romantasy for sure. That's so generic though, because pretty much all my fantasy are romance. So let's add 1 more photo and I'll have to have the book fit both photos. Can you tell I'm literally making up this challenge as I go? More scrolling. Ooh. Okay, a girl with a sword. So I feel like she's gotta be a really like powerful, strong character. Got 2 books that I'm torn between. The first one is Spinning Silver, and our main character is the daughter and granddaughter of moneylenders, but her father's inability to collect his debts has left his family on the edge of poverty until she starts to take matters into her own hands. So for her taking matters into her own hands, I don't know if that includes like her fighting or having a sword. So it like kind of fits, kind of maybe doesn't. And then we have Dance of Thieves, and this one involves like a bunch of different characters that all could be women with swords. It says there's an outlaw family, there's a legendary street thief, but then it says that there are 3 fierce young women who are the queen's premier guard, and I feel like they would definitely have swords. So the 3 women guards, I think, make this book fit our Pinterest photos, and I know it's a romantasy. I do not know who it's a romantasy between. This synopsis is so vague, but that kind of makes me more intrigued, and it's only a duology, so maybe I would get through the whole duology in June. I don't know. I'm quite excited to add Dance of Thieves. All right, I'm gonna go back to my main Pinterest feed. Whatever the first image is, I think we should have to find a book whose cover has something from that image on it. All right, refresh. Ooh, okay. We've got like scrapbook vibes. We've got pens, tape, Polaroid, like little heart bedazzled. Interesting. I pulled 2 books for 2 very different reasons. The first one is Throttled because this one has Polaroids on it, so it had something from the image. And this is a Formula 1 romance. And then we have Tattered by Devney Perry, which does not have anything from that Pinterest photo in this cover, but on the Pinterest photo are a bunch of like markers and pens. And this book, you can color the cover, so I feel like markers, I can use markers to color. Is that too much of a stretch? I don't know. This is so tough. I'm actually so torn. I want to pick picked this one because I'm excited about coloring the cover, and I've been almost putting this on my TBR for I feel like months at this point, but I'm also really excited about Throttled because it's a Formula One romance, and I just love sports romances. It's also one of Lauren Asher's earlier books, and I love Lauren Asher. This is so hard. I think I'm gonna go with Throttled because it has a Polaroid, which was in our Pinterest photo, and a sports romance does sound very fun. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books on the TBR. How many do I want to do? Last month I had 10 books on my TBR and I read 7 out of the 10 books, which I feel like is pretty good. I always love to like over pick my TBR so then I can kind of mood read and not have to read every single book. Okay, book number 7, I'm gonna give a scroll again. Oh, that is a Disney ad. What is below that? Camping sweatshirt. Camping. Do I have books where the characters go camping? There could not be a more perfect book than Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. I looked so long until I remembered that I had this book. The back of the book has a tent and a campfire, which is like, fits the image of the campfire and the tent exactly. It's a young adult romance. They're in high school. He is a star football player and he and her used to be friends, but they're not anymore. And they're going on a survival course in the woods, which I feel like there'd be a lot of like funny, like rom-com situations of them both being on this survival course together. So I think it'll be cute. I'm gonna do a random scroll again, a letter, a necklace, kind of like an old-timey photo. I know exactly what I want to do for this one. I'm gonna do Ruthless Vows. I was just in New York and on the plane ride, I started Ruthless Vows, but it was so early in the morning. I got up at like 5 a.m. to get on my flight, so the words were kind of going in one ear, out the other. I did not get very far into this book. In the first book of this series, Divine Rivals, they write letters to each other on this typewriter, so I feel like the letter fits very well. It also has this very historical fiction feel to it. So I think this honestly fits that Pinterest photo so perfectly, and then that way I can pick up where I left off from my plane ride and finish this book this month. For book number 9, let's mix it up again. I'm gonna refresh the page, and whichever images come up, I'll get to choose an image from the top 4 images. Refresh. We've got another necklace. I love to get necklace ads for some reason on Pinterest. A girl holding books and a coffee. We've got this house that looks kind of fancy. And then also 2 babies. For the babies, I could do like a single parent trope book. That could be really fun. We could do a book where one of the main characters loves reading. I could do something where the main character is kind of wealthy because there's like a chandelier in this house. Okay, lots of options. I'm gonna look through my books and see like what is calling to me that fits one of these photos. Okay, I pulled 2 books that fit 2 different images. First one is Coach by Devney Perry. This is a football romance and it says football star and single dad. I saw single dad and I was like, that fits the baby image. And then the second one is a college sports romance, which is The Play by Elle Kennedy. This one didn't immediately fit any of the images, but it says in the summary that the 2 main characters' backgrounds are very different, their goals aren't aligned, and her parents hate his guts. So I was like, what is going on with their different backgrounds and like her parents hating him? So I did a little more researching on the synopsis, and it says that he grew up really rich and her dad doesn't like him because he seems to think he's just like this rich boy. So it seems like a lot of conflict in the plot dwells around his background growing up in a very wealthy family. That could be incorrect, but that's what I was getting from some people's Goodreads reviews. So that kind of fits our like fancy looking house photo. This is tough. I feel like the Coach fits the image like more directly, but I think I'm more interested in reading The Play, mostly because this is the 3rd book in the Briar U series and I'm just already like invested in this world, and this is Hunter's book who we've met in the previous Briar U books, and I really want to read Hunter's book, so I think I'm gonna go with The Play. And that is our final book going on the TBR. So to recap for our June books, we have 1 mystery, The Cheerleaders, 2 romantices, Ruthless Vows, and Dance of Thieves. And then a lot of romances, Leather and Lark, When in Rome, Weather Girl, Throttled, Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, The Play by Elle Kennedy. I feel like that's a pretty solid TBR. I think I've just been in like a big romance mood like the last month or so. Honestly, my whole life, that is mostly what I like to read. I do wish I could read more fantasy because I love fantasy so much. They're always just such big series most of the time. It's so intimidating to like get into more series. I also have quite a few fantasy series on my list where I don't own the next book, and I should go out and buy them because I forget to finish these series because I don't have the next book on my bookshelves. Anyway, I think this is gonna be a good reading month. I'm excited. And with that, I will see you guys in my next videos where I will hopefully be reading a bunch of these books. Bye!